Okay, for this assignment, what we're going to do is we're going to explore the Extrusion Tool and also the Boolean operations, mostly the intersection one. The idea is to try to create what is in contemporary terms edgy curves. Those are curves that come to a sharp edge. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by putting down a box-like shape. It's on this box-like shape that we're going to be actually inscribing our top and side views. These views would be your typical orthographics, and we're going to use these sort of as cross sections that we're going to intersect to create the compound shape. So what I'm going to do at the top here is, because I want a symmetrical top, I'm going to put a center line going across, and once that center line is placed, then what I'm going to do is just draw half of the shape. So I'm putting the center line in now with the Polyline Tool, which is a straight line tool. So I have a line going down the middle. Now what I'm going to do is go back to the drawing menu, and I'm going to select this time the Spline Tool, which will give me, it's a first I'm going to put a side edge on here because I want this to meet at a hard square edge. I could have put that on directly, but I didn't, so I had to go back and do it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it because I want to continue. You got to make sure it shows up green like that, because what will happen is the lines will be separate and you won't have a complete shape. So you have to click on the previous one where it shows you as edit line. And when you edit line, then you can continue to draw. Now you'll see here I'm just putting in some curves, and these curves are just random. I'm not, if you have an object, you could either trace it, you could even do it in Illustrator and import the line work. But in any case, I got this so far. Now I'm going to go back to the Polyline Tool, and with the Polyline Tool, I'll connect that. But you see, I got to click on that edge first, so it highlights green like that, so it continues and makes a basic shape. Now once that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it, and then what I'm going to do is copy it. So if you use Control C and then Control V, or Command C and Command V on a Mac, then what will happen is you'll get a copy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that copy so I can get a mirrored look. But you want to make sure you rotate it on the correct axes. Now once I have the copy rotated, I'm going to move it over so that it aligns with the first one to create the complete form. So now what I have is left half and right half equal, since they are symmetrical. So that's my top view. Eventually, when I extrude these, I will create a union in a Boolean operation to make one form. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and look at the side, and I want to inscribe the side. And we're going to make this faucet-like or dispenser-like spout. So again, I don't have anything that I'm going by here. I'm just going to do it random. So I'm going to click on that surface, so that'll be the surface I'm going to start drawing with. And I'm going to pick the Spline Tool to do that, and it'll show a green edge if it's the surface I'm going to draw on. It'll show up like that. That little green with box with the check in it, that's you can click on that, or you can click on Enter to finish up your line drawing or when you want to stop it. In this case, I'm going to go pretty much just with the Spline Tool until I get to the very end where I want a sharp edge, and I'll go back to the Polyline Tool. So here I'm just inscribing any old kind of shape that might look like a spout. But if you have something to reference, the image, the sample image in the lesson will be of a dispenser, and I followed that. I looked at it and drew it. But in this case, I'm just randomly making lines to try to get the idea across. So then I'm going to end that with a slight short, like shorter than the top line, so that when I go to my polyline now, I could go ahead and connect those. See how I click on that, it turns green, and then if it doesn't turn green, then it's not going to continue. You're not going to be editing the line. So now what I have, as you could see, I have both the top view and the side view, like an orthographic projection would. And once I have those views, then what's left is simply to delete. I want to delete the box because the box is no longer needed. That was just to build this. So now what I have is the two views, the two pieces rather. And what I want to do is join these. So I'm going to extrude them, going down, take it all the way down to the base there. And then I'll extrude the second piece as well, which is the other half. And I'll extrude that down as well. And then once I have them both extruded, I want to make sure they overlap. Now you'll see here this is red because it's in a subtraction mode. If I click on that little arrow, I want to say solid model so that I get two solid pieces. You don't want to subtract anything. Now they look like they overlap already, so because I had the two cross sections overlapping. So what I'll do is simply delete the 2D planes, the sketch planes. You can see there, I could just delete those by clicking the delete button. Now I have two solids. What I want to do is join those two solids. So I'll use the Boolean tool to do that. And the Boolean, you can see now, union tool makes one. So now I have one, and now what I want to do is extrude the cross section, which would be the side view. And I'll do the same thing. I'll select it and then select extrude, and then I'll pull it through. Now again, you're going to have to select the correct one, which is intersection, not subtraction. So you use the drop-down menu to select intersection. Once that's done, you'll have the form made. And then you could simply select and delete the cross-section, the last cross-section. And what you have now is that compound edgy curve thing. I'm going to radius the corners a little bit. So I'm going to put a fillet on them, and I'll experiment a little bit with the fillet to see how much I could actually get away with here, how much roundness I can get away with, because the shape tends to be very complex. You could see here, I'm going to have to get it down to probably around a 1 before I'll be able to work. But now I'm just trying different radiuses to see, maybe even a 0.5 to get it to work properly. In any case, depending on your shape, you might be able to get it rounder than what I'm doing here. So there's what I got to settle with, and at least it's got a little bit of a roundness to it. So now what I'm going to do is once I get this done, okay, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to look at possibly hollowing out this to make it more like a spout. So there's a tool that will do that. And you go to the menu, you'll find at the very far right there a shell. It's a shell tool, and I'll simply click on that surface I want to shell out, which would be that part. And I'll put a dimension in there. I'll put in 1, and that'll give me like a lip and a hollow area. So again, I'm trying a little higher dimensions, but once I get what works, then I just simply click enter, and then I'll have a hollow form with thickness, so that it could be a spout. If I wanted to work it out further, I could have could be a pump of some kind, a dispenser, or even a water spout for a sink. But in any case, what I'm going to do now is simply give it a chrome look, maybe a chrome feeling. So I'll select it. I drag a window over there, select the whole thing, find a color I like. Again, just see what I could come up with here. I'm trying different ones, different reflective colors. Looking at some of the metals, there might be some other options with the metals. And you can see here I'm playing with that. And you can always experiment. Now, this particular program is primarily to make 3D prints, and it's not a program to make pretty renderings. But, you still can do some things. And here, I selected chrome, and I added a little blue tint to give it a cool look. So that's it. A compound form, done relatively simply using the extrude and the Boolean tools. So that's what I want you to do for this assignment. Screen capture it like the last one.